Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. And during the Threads launch, the new Meta Twitter, I get a text from this guy, and we decided let's do an interview. How about that? Alan Bestwick, of course, the voice of SRX on ESPN, Thursday Night Thunder, going to be kicking off here in just a few weeks' time. So how's it going, AB? Good to see you again.
It's good. We're getting geared up, ready to go. It's a week from Thursday, so we're on top of it and getting ready to get rolling.
All right. What is it like to for you to? This is of course your third year calling SRX. Of course, you and Joachim have been on SRX all 3 years. But for both of you, this is you're back at ESPN for the first time since 2018. How about that?
Yeah, it's it's a good lesson in the way that the world works is never burn a bridge, and things happen and you can't always explain them. But yeah, excited for Thursday Night Thunder to be revived and for it to be SRX that's doing it. And we have a great roster of drivers and a great lineup of racetracks and look forward to our SRX team tackling it here very shortly.
Yeah, just a bunch of the tracks that you guys are going to be at this year. Just a kind of a new twist to what SRX is. It's a new crop of drivers, new tracks. A lot of new faces, a lot of current faces that you see, in NASCAR and IndyCar and NHRA and in every form of motorsport discipline. What's that going to be like? To see out there and everybody, and what's that going to be like, AB?
Well, I think it's more of the same, which is, what the series was designed around, which was to take these great superstar drivers from different types of racing and put them on some of the legendary short tracks in America and let them have fun and go compete for a couple hours. The difference this year is Thursday night. And by going to Thursday night, every product, I don't care if it's the computer you're using to talk to me on, the restaurant down the street from you, every product has to evolve as time goes to stay fresh and to stay current and to grow. And this is a way in season 3 for SRX to evolve. By moving to Thursday nights, it does a couple of things. It gives us our own unique place on a racing weekend in the middle of the busy summer. So whereas before on a Saturday night, you might have been going up against a truck race or an IndyCar race or something. Now we kind of have Thursday nights. That's all to our own. And by doing that, it's opened up the possibilities of the driver roster to all of these currently active guys, be it in NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA, IMSA, you name it. It's opened up the possibilities for all of those people to be able to join us. And so it's kind of a way of freshening up the SRX product as we go into the third year.
Yeah. I feel like, being from Michigan, of course, Berlin's going to be on the schedule. And, I remember the day that the schedule got announced, hopped on a Zoom call with, I'm sure this guy, Jeff Striegel from Berlin, as well as the Motor Racing Network. And I was just up there a few months ago for the ARCA race. Just how exciting is it have you ever been to West Michigan and called the race at Berlin?
I've been to West Michigan to call football at
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. It was Michigan State and Western Michigan, I believe, was the game. But I've never been to Berlin. And, I look forward to it. It's one of the great things about this series. And the man who cooked up this whole concept, Ray Evernham, the NASCAR Hall of Famer, one of the things he wanted to do was show off the legendary short tracks of America. So if you think about the roster of racetracks, Stafford is a perfect racetrack for this series, and it's sold out every year. It is one of the premier, if not the premier, short tracks in the United States. And I'm thrilled we're going back there again. Thunder Road, Ken Squire's place up in Vermont. So many unique things about that racetrack. What a great opportunity to tell those stories and show off Vermont on a Thursday night in the summer to America. Berlin, Western Michigan, and again, another one of the legendary short tracks in the United States. So it's one of the great things about what the SRX product is And no, I've never been, and I very much look forward. I've heard a lot of stories, but I've never experienced it myself, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, of course. If you don't know what Berlin is, it's the track with the no backstretch wall. So that'll be fun to have. But Thunder Road, let's talk about that. You mentioned it. Going up to Vermont, and you're actually going to be calling the race with DW. So obviously, yeah, I know you've known DW for a long time, but
Mhm.
what's that going to be like to call it with him and to call it with Yoakum? Kind of going back to what a lot of people remember back in the early 2000s.
It'll be a lot of fun. Daryl brings two things. He brings a great sense of fun and a great passion for the sport to it. Daryl and his relationship with Ken Squire, the owner of Thunder Road Speedway and the founder of it, goes back decades and decades and decades. So to be able to have Daryl with us on that night at that place will be very special. It won't be the first show we've done together, but it'll be a lot of fun to get a chance to jump in there for a couple hours and have some laughs and smile and cut up a little bit on television.
Yeah, the three tracks. Let's talk about the three tracks we haven't mentioned. Motor Mile, that's going to be fun on there. Lucas Oil, Lucas Oil Speedway, not to be confused with Lucas Oil IRP. This is the track in Missouri. So
Yep.
that appears on there. And Eldora is back on the schedule again. So
Yep.
it was just announced today that Austin Dillon's going to be in that race.
Yeah. So Eldora, again, legendary racetrack, Tony's racetrack. The way that the schedule happens to flow, that is Thursday night of Indianapolis weekend. So 2 hours from downtown Indy and from the big speedway, you're going to be at this legendary short track with all these superstar drivers and just, perfect spot on the calendar for it. Perfect place in the summer to go to Eldora. And the last time we were there, it was a great night. It was a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, a lot of laughs. And look forward to a lot more of that. I've never been to Lucas Oil Speedway. Obviously, I've seen pictures of it and heard of it, but I've never been there. It is supposedly, I mean, from everything I know about it, spectacular. It is a show place, short track, and that's what we want, show places. So we look forward to that one. And then Motor Mile, again, another place, been around forever, freshened up over the years, now a really terrific facility and a very successful place, and an area full of very passionate race fans. And I can't wait to check that one out too, because again, another legendary short track that I've never had the opportunity to visit.
Yeah. So, the Eldora week is actually going to be really busy for you because you're of course going to be calling that race. Plus, of course, you also have your duties as the track announcer for, of course, at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Since you've been doing stuff at IMS the last few years, what has that been like for you?
It's fun. It's a privilege. It's very special. What Mr. Penske and the Penske Entertainment team and Doug Bowles have done to continue to reinvigorate and re-energize the Indianapolis 500 from those difficult COVID years of empty grandstands and just to be there for the whole month and have the best seat in the house. It's really, who'd have thought? And so it's just a lot of fun. It's a great team. It's a lot of fun, a good time to be part of. And at this point in my life and in my career, it's a perfect fit.
Yeah. You talk about all the things that you've been able to do, right now that you're doing, of course, calling SRX, of course you got and right after that, of course, you got the US Open coming up in a few months. And of course you have your Yukon duties for SNY. Just talk about like being able to do a lot of these things and just things that, different sports as a broadcaster, you have to be versatile in really every sport. And you've pretty much called everything.
It's a lot of work, to prepare and to keep an eye on all these different sports. But I always feel like if you're not trying to learn something new, then you're going backwards, if that makes sense. And So to take on challenges, look, they don't all succeed. You know, I did a series of rodeos last spring, and I certainly wasn't the most knowledgeable person in the room.
Right.
Um,
You did.
but you jumped in, you gave it a try, and had some fun with it, and took on the challenge. So all of these things, I didn't set out to be a race announcer, right? I set out to be a broadcaster, and the racing thing kind of happened. I was a race fan, but the racing thing kind of happened. So to have the opportunity to have gone to places like Michigan State and called football, LSU, Wisconsin, Arizona State, Washington State, Virginia, Miami, Georgia, to have called football and college football and all those places, to have the opportunity to have gone to Wimbledon and called the championships at Wimbledon a couple times. Small role, yes, but I was there. I look back at all of those things with no regrets and a great sense of wonderment, because the safe thing would have been just to do NASCAR forever. But I've been places and done things that I can't ever have begun to imagine in my life. And no regrets. It's really, it's a lot of fun. It's really awesome to just to be a part of a lot of these different things and keep challenging my brain.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you know, as you know, as with everything and going on there, but what are we going to expect for the fans this season? What I mean, the Thursday night thing is going to be, you know, special, 9 p.m. on ESPN. But what are outside of the drivers and team, what are we going to expect from this season? What do you think?
Well, I think first of all, it's more of the same, right? This is not a television broadcast of a race. This is a television show that happens to be about racing. So a very large, important focus of our broadcasts are the sense of place. What's special about where we are and why? Who are these people? What makes them tick? What are they away from the racetrack? What's their story? The access that we get. I mean, we get people coming up to us now saying, "You're going to talk to me under green, right? You're going to call me on the radio under green, right?" You know, just the different things we can do. The freedom, the creative freedom that we have at SRX that comes from not having multiple different car owners competing against each other, but from one series out to put on the best show they can put on. The creative freedom that gives us is unparalleled in auto racing and in much of sports television. And we do and will continue to take advantage of that and push the envelope on that as far and as hard as we can push it to just make sure we're all having as much fun as we can have.
Absolutely. All right. AB, always a pleasure to talk with you. I know you got a lot. I know you got a busy 6 weeks ahead of you. So thanks for the time, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, Casey, be good.